Yeah, so whether you want to sell your business or not, it's a good goal to have a business that's sell ready.
So, welcome to the Networking Spark podcast. I've got a fabulous guest today. This gentleman helps people to grow and scale their businesses and then sell them if they want to for huge sums of money. So it might be a great podcast to listen to if you want some tips, some ideas on how to grow your own business and perhaps eventually have an exit plan. He's also got a podcast called Business with Purpose. His name is David Roberts. Let's give him a big warm welcome. David, thank you so much for being on the Networking Spark. Welcome.
Thanks very much, and thanks for having me.
Awesome. So, David, tell us a little bit about yourself. So tell us who you help, who you serve, and what it is exactly that you do.
So I help CEOs mainly, and leadership teams to build great places to work that they can grow. And yeah, if the owners want to sell, they're ready to sell. And the reason that I do that is because I've been through the process myself a couple of times, and it's also a good discipline, I think, for a business to always be working towards being ready to be sold. Because if you're ready to be sold, that means you've not got a huge dependency on one person as the owner of the business, because quite often that stops businesses from being sold. You're building culture, you're building discipline, you're building structure into a business. All of those things are going to help, the boat to go faster. So, so whether you want to sell your business or not, it's a good goal to have a business that's sell ready.
And you're not just any coach, mentor, you are an award-winning mentor, because you and I shared an experience recently at an awards ceremony. Is that the first award you've won, or have you won multiple awards? And congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and congratulations to you too. Yeah, I have won awards before. It is great. Awards are great. Awards are also great for businesses to win. Actually, when you're again growing a business and looking to have an impact, winning an award, especially if it's an award that is a challenging award to win, with like strong judging criteria and that kind of thing, it gives you that kind of evidence, if you like, that what you're doing is having a positive difference and making an impact. And I mean, one of the awards I'm most proud of winning is a Institute of Customer Service Award, Customer Satisfaction Award, which the business I was running won. That was in 2018. And we were like an SME business, like a relatively small business, 15 million turnover probably at that point in time, and we were up against your big blue chip PLC type companies, and it was great to kind of get that validation, and like I say, if it's a proper award, it's really empowering for your people, as well as being a nice bit of recognition for you as an individual. I mean, people are motivated by three things really. One is growth, the second is achievement, and the third is recognition. And the process of working towards winning an award and then actually winning it gives you all three of those things. So it's a really powerful thing.
Yeah, it's a lovely thing to have towards the end of the year as well, isn't it? Because it's like you get towards the end of the year and it's like, well, what have I achieved? You look back and it's been an uphill sort of sprint run, and it's not always easy. So to be recognised and to have that given to you in the form of an award means a lot. And certainly the one where we were was part of a mastermind group of couple of hundred people, and and everybody gets to know you, and that to me was really special, because sometimes with award ceremonies, it can be judges that have never met you or don't know you. And I think when you're involved in a mastermind, everyone really gets to know what you do on a day-to-day business. And so I thought that was really special, and it was lovely to see you going up there to win. So that was awesome. Um, you mentioned earlier that you've been there and done it yourself, as in growing a business and selling it. Tell us a little bit about your journey, and let's go way back from the start. I mean, what were you doing when you left school, for instance?
Well, so when I left school, so I went to school. Grew up in Bristol, in the southwest. So I went to an inner city comprehensive school, and it wasn't a great school from the point of view of results. About 25% of kids left with, five GCSEs or whatever. It wasn't great, but it was a great school from the point of view of learning about culture, learning about different people and different people's backgrounds, and it was a proper melting pot, and so and some of the friendships that I made there, I've still got now. So it was a really good grounding in people and in what makes people tick. And I suppose then I went to university. I went to Liverpool, another great city, and studied history and politics. Decided I did not want to be a politician, and collected a few probably too many skeletons in my closet. So that probably wouldn't work for me now. But yeah, I had a great experience there, and then went into the world of work. And what got me kick-started actually was I came back from university. And my mum, she remembers this differently, right? But my mum said to me, she said, "So what are you going to do now?" I was like, "Well, I don't really know. Are you going to sign on?" "Yeah, probably. I'll have to. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll have a third of that for housekeeping," she said, "and you can sign up for housing benefit as well, and we'll have that too." So that might sound a bit tough, but that was kind of just the kick in the proverbial that I needed to get myself going. So I got into the world of work, and then I started off working for the people, being an employee. Realized that I was kind of hardworking, and that I enjoyed it, quite career orientated, but also that I was kind of making other people money, and I was doing stuff and making them money. The other thing I realized as well was that when I worked for a company which had values that I ascribed to and believed in and really related to me, my results were better. And so I then got to a point, 10 years after that, where it's like, well, I can't carry on working in this business that I'm in now, because the CEO that I was listening to talking about the business was describing this fantastic business, but it didn't feel anything like that for the people who were working in the company. And so I kind of realized that at that moment, really, that it was up to me to kind of create an environment where it actually, what you said and what you did were the same thing. And so great places to work, have a massive impact on people in so many different ways, because we spend so much time there, and people should enjoy work and be fulfilled by what they do. So I decided that was the point where I wanted to be the kind of person that ran businesses myself and owned businesses. And that's what got me into then starting businesses, buying into businesses, and that's what I've been doing since.
So how old were you then when you started businesses?
That was 20. So the first one I started was part of a subsidiary for a big PLC.
Mm-hmm.
So I practiced, if you like, on other people's money. So even though I was making money for other people, I got the benefit of practicing on their behalf. And then the first one I set up was 2013.
Okay. So I still don't know how old you were. Were you at like early 20s?
No, that's very, very kind of you. No, I'm a bit older than that. I'm 52 now, and so I was 40.
Okay. Yeah, because recently I read some stats that said most people, like the most common age for starting a business, for becoming a C, well, no, for starting a business is 42.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a transition, isn't there, from being a founder to becoming a CEO. I'd love to dive into that in a minute. And then the most common age for becoming a CEO is 47. And then the most common age for becoming a millionaire was somewhere in the 60s, which was quite a motivating thing to read, I thought. Yes, which is great. So let's talk about that if we can. The difference of being a founder to a CEO, because it's a jump, isn't it? And do you come across this with people that you mentor?
Yes, it is a yeah. I mean, it depends on the person, really. I think that some founders start businesses because they're passionate about a thing, like either a problem or a product, or they just want to make money, and none of those reasons are bad. It's kind of, they're all equally valid, because for whatever reason it is, fine, you go for it. I think when you sort of, if you like, evolve into being a CEO, well, I suppose the first thing is, what do you evolve into being? Because some people who start businesses, they are technical people with the product, so CEO might not be the best role for them. So that's quite a big decision to make. It's your baby, and actually what you're going to do is you're going to be, very senior in the business and the major shareholder probably, and all those other things. But someone else is going to lead it, and that's it's a real gift if you've got that self-awareness, that you understand yourself, you understand other people, and you understand, well, what's going to be the best recipe, if you like, of the people in the business that we need to make it successful. Then that is a real advantage for you. And I think that's really, for me, that's probably the biggest difference between being a founder and starting a business and then taking it to a place where it's going to scale. It's understanding yourself, your strengths and weaknesses, what you need around you to make you brilliant, what you need to be giving other people to make them brilliant, and then how you then get that all working and focused in the right direction.
Because essentially, I would say the difference from being a founder to a CEO is creating the right team around you and delegating and finding people that can do things better than you can, and allowing yourself to step back from being fully in control in a way, because when you're a founder, everything is under your control and it's all exciting and there's lots of passion. But then there's a time and a place where you have to step back and build confidence in your team. And first of all, find the right team. If you find some wrong ones, that could potentially kind of throw the whole thing. So finding the right team and really, becoming a leader, I suppose. But knowing yourself is a really good answer for sure.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier the three things that motivate people, one of them being recognition and awards. But I noticed that there was one sort of thing that I would expect to be in there that wasn't, and that is money.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not think money motivates people?
I think money is a measure of a couple of the other things I mentioned. So growth, recognition, and achievement. So money comes into into growth, money comes into achievement, and money comes into recognition. So money can motivate people. Money can be an incentive for people to take specific actions. But if you're looking at those like core intrinsic motivators, they're kind of emotional drivers. And so money, you could be motivated from a monetary point of view to defend and to protect and to secure safety for your family. So that could be a money related motivator. Or you could be motivated by money from the point of view of building wealth, building a higher standard of living, and more choice into your life. So I guess money's not really, well, if money's got too much emotion attached to it, that's when it can become unhealthy for people. So looking beyond the money, looking beyond I suppose the significance that you might get to the underlying driver that sits behind that, I think is probably a good thing to do.
100%. So thank you so much for sharing your journey so far to where you are today. Would you say you're in a good place right now where you are?
Yes, I would say I'm in a good place, but I'm perennially dissatisfied with where I am. So that's quite an interesting paradox, isn't it? So yeah, I'm in a good place, and but I think, I guess, why am I dissatisfied? I'm dissatisfied because I know that more is in me. I want more experience of life. I want to build more wealth. I want to have more impact. I want to help more people. I want to spend more time with my family and with my friends. So yeah, so I kind of, it's interesting because sometimes that, and this is a real thing for me, something I have to work on, is making sure that I am present often enough. And when you listen to people talking, it's fascinating. People very often spend a lot of their life effectively living either in the past or in the future. And I'm very much more towards the future. I'm always thinking about the next thing and the vision and all that kind of stuff, which is fine as long as I spend enough time in the present. And there have been times where I've caught myself completely missing beautiful, wonderful moments in my life, and catching myself thinking, hang on a second, just stop a moment and drink this in. It's a bit like when you go to a gig or something and you see everyone on their phones and they're actually watching this like mega star maybe, or the band that they've loved since they were a child or whatever, and they're watching it through a phone. It's like, put the phone down and just live in the present moment and enjoy the experience. And so yeah, but I mean, yeah, I don't know if that's a helpful answer, but yeah, I feel like I'm in a good place.
I think it's a common thing amongst entrepreneurs and business people that, and it just means that you're driven, that you're always scrutinizing and looking at where you're at and how you can improve. And I think that's a good thing. It means you're self-aware, it means you're driven, it means you're always firing out rockets of desire of where you want to go next. So that is a good thing. One thing we do in our Spark community, and I kind of force people to do it every single week, is that every week on a Friday, I jump into the group and I say, what are you grateful for? What's gone well this week? And that's all about stopping to pause, to celebrate what's gone well. And then everybody comes together as a community and celebrates each other. So I do think it's a really, really important thing to do. And being a yoga teacher myself as well, it's a normal practice that I've kind of developed over the years, is just to be grateful for every moment in every day and always look for the positive. But then the entrepreneur side of myself is always looking at what I can improve, what can I build, and what about this idea and that idea and blah blah blah. So it's getting a balance between all of that, because at the end of the day it's all about balance, right? What techniques do you use from day to day to keep balanced and to keep yourself where you need to be?
Yeah, okay. Because I don't know if I think balance is a realistic goal. I think in any kind of moment, if you think about it as a kind of a pendulum, that there's motion involved, right? Which means, I mean, yeah, you can be balanced and in motion, but I think setting a goal to be balanced, and when people talk about work-life balance, I think is a bit dangerous, because
What if your work is your life?
well, it's just also, it's a moment in time, right? So can absolutely everything. Have you done the Wheel of Life?
No.
Okay, so the Wheel of Life is a little model which I use work through with clients, and I do it on myself probably
Oh,
twice a year.
I have, where you score yourself in different areas of your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
exactly. So how satisfied are you with, work, money, relationships, spiritually, all of those, health, all
Mm,
that kind of stuff? And the score, I think, should be changing, because there's going to be things that you are going to want to be focusing on at one point in time, and then 3 months down the road it might be a different focus. It's about it being intentional.
mm,
So I think balance is a bit of a myth, but kind of good to keep a check on and make sure you're happy and being intentional about where you're focusing your energy and your time. Rituals wise, my downward facing dog is a laughing stock, I have to tell you. So I'm not a
but
yogini.
your body
Um,
popping's good though. I have seen that.
yeah, but I can do a little bit of bodybuilding. Yeah. So yeah, and I run. So there's a couple of things that I do. I run, and I've been injured for the last few months. And that's been very, very challenging for me. So I've been out walking and all that kind of stuff. But I love being out in the wilds, and
Mm,
getting lost is something that I kind of enjoy, as long as I don't get too lost. And so I love doing that. It's good for me physically and
mm,
mentally. Like you, gratitude is a big thing for me. I've got a gratitude journal, and I've got rituals that I follow every day. And so I'm thankful for three things. I like to close my eyes and just give myself that moment, and that whole thing about being present. Say thank you for the things that I'm grateful for, and yeah, that really really helps me too. So they're the main things really that I'm always conscious that it's important that I just keep doing that daily gratitude practice.
mm.
A couple of little mantras that just help me to remind myself about things I need to keep in mind, and then yeah, making sure that I'm getting exercise and getting out in the wilds.
Getting out in nature, yeah, it's good for everyone, good for your mental health as well as your physical health, for sure. Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to get quite deep now, if you don't mind. Looking back over your journey, because right now you're working with some huge company. I mean, just looking at your bio, you help people scale, hugely. In fact, let's go there first. Your biggest win, because I read something about you, helping a company within 2 years scale up massively. What was that? Go into that for me.
So starting a business basically, and then growing it to 8 figures in 2 years.
That's inspiring.
Yeah, and it it was a great business, a great concept, helping people, an emergency services business, and some of that was organic growth, some of that was through acquisition. A lot of it was about building a team quickly, uh, seeing an opportunity, taking it, having the right support, and having good mentors as well was very very helpful with that. So, but it was a really really great team effort to bring that to fruition. And core to that was, when you start off with one, well, actually we start off with two people, and we grew it to over 200. Core to that was just putting yourself out there, and when you're saying earlier on about sort of the things that you do as a kind of an entrepreneur and pushing yourself and all that kind of stuff, really stepping out of my comfort zone. And as I hadn't directly sold for a good few years because I've been focusing in other areas, so actually being the person to go out and sell was a really really good challenge for me.
Sounds
And
like you must have been a good salesperson as well.
well, I'm not the best salesperson on the planet. I'm not the best salesperson on the planet, not by a long chalk. There are lots of people who are much better at it than me. And one of the first things that I do when I'm scaling a business is find a really good salesperson because I can. But I would. It's not my core talent or unique ability. That's more around building a team. That's more around making sure that that team is focused and relentless in pursuit of a mission, and building culture, and structure so that that builds in a profitable and meaningful way for people. So that's my skill really. So if I'm out selling, I'm not focusing on the thing the area where I can have the most value, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And it's
So
about, again, it's coming round to knowing yourself there, isn't it? Like what your strong points are. So you can go and do that, but ideally you would hire, somebody. But it sounds like you did a good job anyway, which is amazing. That was like fabulous results. So congratulations. When
thank
you're
you.
advising people and getting involved in companies,
Yeah.
how important do you think networking is? Do you advise people to do it?
I do. Well, I do. If that's where the useful people, that relationships that they need are going to be hanging out. So wherever your ideal customers are, wherever the partners that you need to take your vision and make it a reality. You've got to be in those places. So I mean, I quite enjoy networking. I've been to some very good networking events, and I've been to some that I didn't think were that good. And then when I've reflected on it, maybe I didn't go with the right mentality. Maybe I didn't go with the right sort of
Intention.
intention.
Yeah. Because behind
Um,
every person is a multitude of doors. But if you
right.
go with a set belief already that this isn't for me and these are not my people, then you're never going to find out what's behind those doors. Own your success with a Spark franchise opportunity. Are you looking to own a thriving business that sparks success? Could you be a good fit to run a Spark network? Join a proven and innovative business model that empowers entrepreneurs to flourish in the dynamic world of networking. But why choose a Spark franchise? Well, it's a business ready to go with an established brand. Benefit from the credibility and recognition of the Spark Business Networking brand. It's a proven system. Access the comprehensive framework that guides you towards success. There is ongoing support with training, admin assistance, and continuous support for your franchise. Own a piece of the business networking market in your designated area. Tap into a lucrative industry and expand your business as a part of a trusted network. Ready to ignite your entrepreneurial journey with a Spark franchise? Visit sparkbusinessnetworking.co.uk to learn more about this exciting opportunity.
Absolutely. And I think leaders, and I think we're all leaders, and sometimes our belief about whether we're a leader or not is a thing that's going to decide how good a leader we actually end up being. But leaders are very open to meeting new people, and they're not there for the kind of the next sale or kind of the immediate term need that they've got. Yes, they've got that as a goal. They want to generate some leads, they want to grow the business, they want to build a relationship that's going to take it in a new direction, whatever it is. But they're open enough to think long term and to almost kind of collect some contacts who may be interesting people, and to be genuinely interested in other people. That's leadership, because when you cultivate relationships in that kind of a way, you're seeking to understand other people, you're interested in them, you're not there for yourself, then that's where you build the rapport, then you build the relationship, and then you actually begin to look for opportunities for you to work together with the people that you meet. So think long game when you're networking. Don't go into a networking environment desperate to pull leads and all that kind of stuff. I mean, of course, if you've got a very specific purpose, then that's fine. But you're talking to other human beings. Get interested in them.
Exactly, like show up and with an intention to find out about them, because when you get to know them, then you open doors and you learn how you can help them far better than to go up and just pitch yourself. It just turns people off,
Yeah.
networking. In terms of all of the events that you've been to, what stood out to you for those good ones that you went to, the ones that really made an impact as a good networking event? What made them different?
So the the host makes quite a big difference in my experience. Where there's a good host who's very, I suppose, clear, and it's obvious what they stand for. That makes people feel very, very comfortable. And if that host is supported by a couple of like-minded people who are looking out for each other, and looking out for the people who are going to the event, making sure that people are feeling comfortable, and yeah, that I think that makes a big difference. I also think being really clear about what the purpose of the event is. Sometimes it's sometimes it feels a bit vague. You've been told there's a purpose to it, and then when you get there, it's all a bit kind of vague, and there's nothing really going on.
Yeah.
So just be really, really clear about how the event's going to work in advance. I think because some people like to go into a completely, well, this anything could happen here type environment. Some people like a bit more structure. So giving people enough clarity about what to expect before they arrive, I think is also important. It makes people feel comfortable.
That's good. I think that's a good answer. It makes me feel quite confident about our events in that case. Um, we'll have to have you along at some point, David. That would be an absolute joy to have you along.
Yeah, be good.
Yeah, wonderful. Just going back, you to a previous statement, you said everybody is a leader. I thought that was, if you don't mind me saying, with no filter, that was quite a broad statement. So
Yeah.
would you say, for instance, a coder who doesn't like interacting with people and prefers to hide away in their bedroom and not have any interaction and just sit the computer and themselves, are they a leader, and why?
Okay, good question. So yes, I do believe that everyone is a leader. What else does that coder do? That coder may be a big part of an online community, and it might not be verbal communication, vocal communication. It might be communication through screens and all that kind of stuff. That coder may have a family, and they may play a leadership role in that family, either as being a parent or as being a child that steps up and looks after other people in that family. That coder could be a member of a football team or a hockey team, and on the pitch they may not be the captain, but they may be the kind of MVP who kind of steps up and who shows the way when their team is 3 goals down, and need to pull their socks up and start to play as a unit. So I think it's about context, and when you're in a situation where either you're passionate about it, or where you're fascinated by it, or where if you're in a dangerous situation and someone's got to take some action, you become a leader. And I think there's a bit of a misconception perhaps that leaders need to be charismatic, upfront, energetic, bouncing around like Tigger type people. Some of the biggest leaders of some of the largest corporations on the planet have been introverts, or had a preference for introversion. So, but they've been really, really effective leaders, and they've quietly and in their own way gone about building these incredible teams of people who are just so intently passionate about the project that they've created these enormous, very, very successful businesses. Again, it's the self-awareness that comes in, when is the right time to bring the charismatic person out, because you've got to go and do a fundraise, and I can give the quiet confidence, but they can give the kind of effusive, exuberant kind of expression. Because again, the investors, there's going to be the analytical types, and then there's going to be the showboaters who are going to want to put their money down on the glamour, project as well. So that's where I think that comes into play. So no matter what the context, not no matter what the context, in different contexts, different people will step up and be leaders in their own way.
There's all sorts of different areas in your life where you can be a leader and lead by example. And that's quite empowering to hear. So that's great. So I love to talk to people and watch their journeys, and particularly people that have been through stuff, people that have come from nothing and become something. I met somebody once who told me she'd never failed at anything, and that kind of made me be sick in my mouth a little bit, because because I don't know, I didn't really like that. I mean, fair enough if that's true, but I do believe that people grow from failure, and that we're forged in the fire. Can I ask you, what's your biggest failure been throughout your life?
So I failed a lot when I was a child, with wanting to be significant, wanting to be loved a bit too much. And so what I did in those situations was become a little bit self-obsessed, and I kind of got through that by finding something bigger than myself to get exercised about, and that then fixed it. So that was a failure that I had to learn from, a kind of an underlying failure. I made a massive mistake in 2004, so 20 years ago, crikey, where I made a change in a business. I'm not naturally tuned into attention to detail, so I just trusted that everything was working as planned. And then there were, a couple of million quid's worth of invoices that weren't being paid by customers as a result of that. So I created a bit of a cash flow crisis that we had to work very quickly to fix. So I learned a very, very powerful lesson then. And and I fail every day. I fail every day. Some people say they don't like the word failure. There is no failure, there's only feedback. And I like that from a kind of that's a good way to frame it. That's a good way to think about it. But every single call that I make, that where I'm trying to sell something, I could do better. This podcast interview, I could do a better job than the job that we're doing now. And I fundamentally believe that. And so therefore, from one perspective, that's a failure. From another perspective, it's an opportunity to do better next time. So, what can I do differently in terms of my preparation, how I show up? Did I set the intention, before this conversation to make sure it was a really good one? Am I bringing my best to this moment? If I'm not, potentially that's a failure. So I think embracing failure and recognizing that it's part of the process and enjoying the process is really important. And enjoying the process is really important to actually live a life of fulfillment. So actually recognizing that failure is part of the process, testing yourself as part of the process, and you are going to fall over and make mistakes. Accepting that and learning from it, I think is it's quite an empowering thing.
Mm. Brings me back to the word balance, David, where when you achieve huge success, there's usually been some lessons along the way or some failures along the way, and eventually there is a balance in that. So I do bring back that word, I have to say. What would you say is your biggest win? We just kind of jumped onto one of those. Is that your biggest win? Or what's really made you feel proud?
My biggest win. My biggest win. Wow. I mean, so I've been really proud of my work achievements and building a business, and then taking it through rapid growth and then being able to sell it for a high multiple. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the kind of the results that my coaching clients get now. And it's not me that does it, it's them that does it. But I'm proud to be part of those achievements. I'm proud of my family, and I love my wife and my daughters, and the fact that they are growing up into being independent human beings. I'm not saying it's kind of easy. I mean, talk about mistakes. Blimey, I can I can tell you a few mistakes I've made being a dad, but and a husband,
And you say
but
you've got
wow,
a house full of girls,
yeah,
which is really hard. Have it because I've got one of each. Then
right.
it's the girls that are the more difficult ones, I have to say.
Yeah, yeah. I love it. I mean, I don't know any different. I mean, I
Mm.
absolutely love it. And I know there's things that they won't want to tell me or won't want me to know about, but I know there's probably lots of stuff that I know about that that I probably wouldn't have told my parents
Mm.
at the time anyway. So
You've got different.
so it's great that we've got a kind of a relationship where we can talk to each other, and they know that they can come and talk to me if they need to, and if it's not right for me, then then their mum will be there, and so yeah, that I'm proud of that's really important to me as family.
Sounds like you've got a. I'm going to bring the word balance back that you don't like, but you've got a really lovely balanced life, as in you've got a really happy and fulfilled family, and a great family life that your daughters trust you to be able to speak to you, which isn't, not that doesn't happen in every family. You've got a lovely wife and you've got a really successful business.
Yeah, but don't be fooled though, because it's work and effort, and it doesn't always go well. And I know you're not being fooled, but I don't want the listeners to think, oh yeah, this is all great. This is like an Instagram photo. It's not. We have challenges. We're going through challenges right now, and if you can go through those challenges together, then you're going to be better equipped to meet them. So yeah, it's not a bed of roses, but we do believe that we're standing in our own field of diamonds, So even if it's tough, then the good times are there, and never too far away.
I love that expression, standing in a field of diamonds. I think it's beautiful. What mark do you want to leave on this earth?
So that comes back to my purpose, really, which at the root of that is helping people to do things that they didn't think were possible. So I don't know why, but I've always loved that. I've always loved, so from watching stage shows, musicals, and that kind of stuff when I was a kid, and now as an adult, I'm always the one who's like crying at the end when the lights come up, and kind of I don't want anyone to see me in that, and pretending I've got something in my eye, but what gets me then is I went to see Matilda. And at the end of it, you've got this probably 11-year-old girl who's like belting out this tune, and it's emotional. And, she is just kind of absolutely having it. Do you know what I mean? And it's just amazing to see that. I remember seeing my brother when we were growing up kind of achieving stuff, and both with sport and then with his writing and all that kind of stuff. And it's just brilliant. I love that. And then in the world of work, seeing people come through and face challenges and develop and grow and all that kind of stuff. I just love that. So that's what I want. That's the impact that I want to have is to create an environment where people can do things that they didn't think they were going to be able to do, and just to see the look on their face.
And that makes you feel fulfilled and like you've done something and really helped people, which I think is at the root of what we should all be doing, is how can I help someone, rather than how much money can I make, how can I help people, how can I make a difference. And that's heart-led, which means so much more, I think.
Yeah. But I want to get paid as well, though.
Of course. That's a whole other subject.
Yeah. But I mean, it's weird, isn't it? Because it is a selfless thing, but it's also it makes me feel good, So finding that thing that makes you feel good, and so that's the kind of the essence of it, the core of it. And then it's a case of, okay, so what's the context for that? What's the how? And for me, the how mainly is in business, and so seeing CEOs come through challenges, go from feeling trapped to feeling liberated in their business and building teams that are going to work with them. That's a kind of an expression that I'm focusing on right now to fulfill that purpose. So yeah, and it's good to do it from a social point of view and with family as well.
Amazing. So if people want to work with you, listening to this podcast, if they're a CEO that really wants to grow, expand, sell, are you taking on new clients? How do you work? How do people go about getting in touch?
So people can get in touch with me on social media. Follow the podcast, Business with Purpose. Little plug, and there's a link there on my social media profiles and on the podcast show notes where people can download a free guide. It's an abridged version of a book, which is 3 reasons why you would never sell your business. And like I say, it's aimed at people who've got an aspiration to want to sell, but actually having that as a goal, being ready to sell or sell ready, is really important for businesses and for business owners to be able to, run a business without being a slave to it. You start a business, or you buy into a business, or you look to grow a business to solve a problem, and we need businesses that solve problems for society. So therefore, we need the leaders and owners of those businesses to feel free and liberated, and to be able to get time with family as well as time on the business as well. So if you've set it up so it's ready to sell, then it's your choice. Then you can either step back or sell it and it's ready when you want to go. So that's probably the best way for people to find out is follow me on social media and click on the link in my bio, as they say.
Wonderful. And Business with Purpose, the podcast, great name, by the way. That's aimed at your ideal client, which is CEOs that want to scale, right? What do you want to just tell us a little bit about your podcast?
Yeah, so I started the podcast 3 years ago, and it was called People with Purpose until very recently, and that was about finding unlocking your purpose, and I just found the content I was producing and the people I was interviewing were more business oriented. So actually calling it what it actually had become seemed like a sensible thing to do. So I think, businesses are there to solve problems, i.e. there's a purpose for those businesses. And for business owners, it's important that their personal purpose and the purpose of the business, there's some form of alignment and relationship between the two, and that's understood. So that's the main focus really, and it's about creating great businesses, great places to work, which is about being a leader that creates leaders. So that's what the podcast is all about.
Who was your favourite guest?
Wow, do you know what? I think very recently, Rob Bell, who's a BBC broadcast journalist, was on, and he was great. Just his voice, I just kind of, it was just dreamy, and what he said was great as well. So I loved that episode. I've also previously had on Professor Damien Hughes of the High Performance Podcast. He was a brilliant guest. There's loads. There's about 150 brilliant guests, so it's probably not fair to single them out. And I've probably forgotten some amazing ones from the early days. Oh yeah, Jack Russell. He's a mentor of mine, and he was early doors. He was definitely, he still is one of the most listened to episodes. So yeah, so there's loads of great content on there for some really good people.
Fantastic. So sounds like a really good one to listen to. 150 episodes. You
300.
300 episodes. Wow.
300.
Okay,
Yeah.
so great for anyone that's going on holiday or is driving their car. 300 to get through. That's great. Okay, well, David Roberts, you've been fantastic. I think you're a great person to be working with. It sounds like you've had some huge success stories with and for other businesses. For anyone that wants to grow, scale, and potentially sell, reach out to David on the show notes below as well. Will be all the links. So David, thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for all the tips and tricks. On that note, do you have anything to close this with? Any parting advice for CEOs, business owners that are wanting to scale?
I think these things happen on a daily basis, not on a kind of a annual basis. It's when you look at kind of gold medalists. The day they win the gold medal is not the day they're brilliant, right? They're brilliant every day for probably years on the run up to that. So be intentional with every day, and be really, really conscious of your language, because your thoughts that you have become the things that you create. And the way that the way your thoughts leak out is in your language. So if you're able to observe your language and to use empowering language, like, I can, I'm learning, I'm improving, I'm getting there, instead of language like, well, it's a struggle, I can't, and all that kind of stuff. Just notice your language, because what you say is what will end up happening. So yeah, and if you need someone to help with that, find a friend, ask them to just listen to you at a moment when you're not expecting it, and give you some feedback on it. And because that's where the inner you and the inner challenge and the inner expression of yourself is going to leak out, is through the words that you use. So conscious on that, and be intentional with how you use your language every day.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, David. On that note, let's wrap up. Great advice. Thank you for being here, and yeah, have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, Jess. It's been great.